one officer approached me and asked me who was that woman. I told him I didn't know the lady. He asked me again. This time he asked me if she was my whore. I asked him, if you want to know who she is, there she is. I asked him, why would you disrespect that woman by referring to her as my whore? He said, you were talking to her, you know her, what's her name? I replied, because the woman is of African American descent, I'm supposed to know her.
You have you have Mr. McCorvey and you have Officer B saying, they're walking and they parted, and it was at that point that he crossed the street.
I didn't write that, so I certainly must have not seen that. Because what I wrote in my finding was that both officers saw Mr. McCorvey and Kay walk across and contact the woman.
I do worry that the police officers see crime and see bad things happening in society, and that it impacts them, and so then when they approach individuals, they're not, they're sometimes prejudging and judgmental, and the problem with that, if you're a black man in Portland, which I wouldn't know, but I represent a lot of people of color and have heard a lot about this, is that it is debilitating if you are constantly stopped and investigated for crimes which you haven't done, and after a while it really wears you down, and it just shows you that there's systemic racism, and it's soul-sucking. I don't understand why and how we got to Mr. McCorvey is identified as a potential pimp as opposed to Mr. McCorvey is identified as a potential John. And it seems to me that there are some assumptions that are going on in that initial encounter that I don't like, which smack of racism. And when you add to that the pimp, the crack cocaine, the low-income housing, I feel terrible for Mr. McCorvey that he sat there and that he was subjected to that. And I understand completely why he's here.